Hello everyone, and I hope that you're well. So today I thought I would make a pasta dish as I love pasta. So I'm making a spicy cheesy pasta bake, and I'm going to show you how to do it today in this video. So let's get started with the ingredients. So today we will be making the pasta. We will also be making a cheesy creamy white sauce, and we'll also be making a spicy tomato sauce as well. So I've got all the ingredients here. So let's start. So I've got about 6 or 7 fresh tomatoes, some ginger and garlic, enough for 1 tablespoon of ginger and garlic paste, 1 brown onion. Here I've got about half a cup of flour, about 200 grams of mature cheddar and 200 grams of butter. We've got about 150 grams of mozzarella cheese, about a cup of milk, but the flour and the milk may change depending on how the creamy white sauce or the roux comes together, but I'll explain that a little bit later. I've got about 250 grams of pasta here as well, dried pasta. So spices, let's have a look. So I've got about 1 teaspoon of red chilli powder, half a teaspoon of Kashmiri Red Chilli Flakes. Put that here. 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of coriander powder, about 1/4 teaspoon of Garam Masala, and 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1/4 teaspoon of cumin powder. Okay, let's get going. Okay, so let's begin making the spicy tomato sauce. So in the pan, I've just coated the bottom with some oil, and I've also finely chopped some onions into square pieces, and I'm just going to add them now. The pan is on a medium heat, and I'm just going to wait for them to go a nice golden brown colour and for them to be a little bit soft. And in the meantime, I'm going to put the kettle on because we'll be needing some water in a little while. So the onions have been cooking for a while, or frying, and they've got a nice goldeny colour. That's how they're starting to turn out. So I've also in the meantime put together the ginger and garlic paste. So I'm now going to add this. There it goes. And I'm just going to give that a little fry. My kettle is nicely boiled and ready as well because we'll be shortly adding the spices, so the boiling water is ready to be used as well. So I've just been frying this for about 30 seconds, and I'm now going to begin adding the spices. So let's start with the chili powder. And the coriander powder, cumin powder, garam masala, and the Kashmiri Red Chilli Flakes. So what you need to do is just fry this for about 10 seconds or so, 10 to 20 seconds. Just so that the red chilli powder in particular fries nicely, and then you're going to just add a splash of boiling water and continue to stir. And this will just give you a really nice masala and base to that tomato sauce. A little bit more, just a couple of splashes will do. It's still on that medium heat. So I'm just going to let this fry for a minute or so, and then we'll move on to the next stage. So as it's been frying, the onions have started to dissolve, so that's a nice sign, and the oil has begun to leave the water as well. So I'm now going to add the tomatoes. I'm going to give it a little stir, and then I'm just going to turn the heat down to a low heat, a low to medium heat, and I'm going to put the lid on and let it just cook, let those tomatoes soften so that we get a nice tomato sauce. But I'll just add a little bit of water just to help it come together. Okay, perfect. So the tomato sauce is just on a low heat, and it's just going to begin to cook down. So in the meantime, I am going to prepare the white sauce. So let's begin. So I've just started to heat this pan up. Again, it's sort of on a low to medium heat. And we are going to begin by melting the butter. So I'm going to pop that in and wait for it to melt. Okay, so we are going to begin making the roux for the creamy white sauce. So this stage of melting the butter and adding the flour is called a roux. So now that this has melted nicely, I'm going to gently add the flour to begin to thicken it. And what you're looking for is to turn into a thick sort of paste. So what you need to do, just get any wooden spoon, it's on a medium heat, and just gradually add the plain flour and keep mixing until it binds together. It will become quite lumpy, but we are going to use a whisk later on, once we start adding the milk, to remove those lumps. So just gently keep adding bit by bit. This will give such a nice, rich, creamy sauce, and it's so easy to do, so quick, and actually really affordable. You just need a little bit of flour, a little bit of butter and some milk, and it just really makes your pasta or any sort of sauce. You can use this for so many different recipes, but very nice and creamy. Can you see that it's starting to thicken? Starting to come together. It's really important that you keep mixing it. Don't go and do anything else. It's really important that you keep mixing so it doesn't stick to the bottom and so that it binds nicely together. So I'm fairly happy with that consistency now, and I'm going to begin adding the milk. It's really important that we're going to change from whisk, from spoon to whisk. And I'm now going to add the milk. It's really important that you add the milk very gently, bit by bit. You just need a lot of patience, and you need to keep whisking it together. If you try and add all the milk at this point, it will just become really lumpy. So you need to keep whisking, and gradually it will become a nice smooth sauce as this roux begins to loosen. So can you see that it's beginning to loosen a little bit? So it can take a little bit more milk each time. Don't forget about your tomato sauce. I've just taken the lid off mine. Just keep half an eye on it, but we want those tomatoes to go a nice soft colour. It's really important that we keep mixing this sauce. This needs all our attention, but it is coming together. You just need a little bit of patience. Keep adding that milk. It's coming together really nicely now. It's beginning to look like a nice creamy white sauce. It's a good arm workout as well. It does require a lot of consistent mixing. I promise you it will be worth it. So once you get to this stage, you can keep adding more and more milk. It will take a lot more milk now, and those lumps, there's not so much risk of lumps either. It's coming together really nicely, becoming a lot more runny and a lot more smooth. So it's really important that you keep mixing. Just going to add the final bit of milk. So that altogether was probably about 2 cups in the end for the amount of butter and flour I used. It does differ each time depending on heat, depending on the type of butter. So it's good to have a little bit extra to hand if you need. But now it's important that we just cook this down, just so that we take that floury sort of texture out. So I'm just going to continue cooking this, but I will add the black pepper for a little bit of flavour and just a pinch of salt, but the rest will be going into the tomatoes mixture in a moment. It smells lovely. Okay, so just to stop it sticking from the bottom to the bottom, it's good to just move in a figure of 8, just like that, just while it's cooking down, just to stop it from sticking to the bottom. But that is near enough done now. So I'm just going to check on the tomato sauce and see how that is doing. Okay, so I've just swapped the pans over so we can have a look at how this one's getting on. We will go back to the white sauce and add some cheese, just to give it that nice sort of cheesy, creamy flavour. But for now, I'm just having a look at these tomatoes and they are softened really nicely. And I'm just going to wait now for the sauce to reduce, but I think I'll also add the salt. So the 1 teaspoon of salt going in. And while these 2 sauces are just finishing off, I'm going to boil the kettle ready for the pasta. And I'm going to grate some cheese ready for us to put this all together once the pasta is nice and done. So while the tomato sauce is thickening, I'm now going to just start boiling the water. So I've got it on a nice high heat just to get it nice and boiling. I'm just going to add a little pinch of salt. This is just to flavour the water, give a little bit of flavour to the pasta, but we will be draining this water later, so not to worry, it's not going to over salt your pasta dish. So I'm just going to wait for that to heat up and then I'll add the pasta. Okay, so the tomato sauce has reduced down, it's become nice, a little bit more thicker, but I've left a little bit of consistency just so that it coats the pasta nicely. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm now just going to add the cheese to our white sauce. Okay, so the pasta sauce. I have grated some cheese and I'm just going to gradually put the cheese in and give it a little whisk just so that it becomes nice and adds sort of a little bit of flavour, gives it that sort of cheesy creamy taste. Just wait for that to melt through. I'll just keep whisking that together. Okay, so the water has come to a boil, so I'm just going to take the lid off, turn it down to a medium heat, and I'm now going to add the pasta. And we want to cook this until it's al dente, so that's about 2 minutes less than than what the packet suggests. So I'm going to cook this for about 8 minutes as this one takes about 10 to 12 minutes approximately, and I'll check it then to see how it's getting on. So the pasta has been cooking for exactly 8 minutes now, and I've just given it a little try and it's perfectly al dente. So I'm now just going to drain the water so that we can start mixing everything together. Okay, so in this pan, as it's a nice big pan, I'm going to add our tomato sauce, and then I'm going to add the pasta and mix it all together so it coats evenly. Goes the pasta, and let's give that a little mix. That looks so nice. Smells amazing. Smell all those spices and that tomato, sort of rich tomato sauce as well. So very inviting indeed. Okay, I'm now going to transfer this to a baking tray and let's put it all together. Okay, so to begin layering up your pasta bake, all you need to do is add the pasta as the first layer. Make sure you get it all in there. And just give it a little shake so it distributes evenly. And I'm now going to add some finely sliced mozzarella. And I'm now going to add our nice cheesy white sauce. And then just spread it to each corner so it's nicely covered. And I'm now just going to garnish with a little bit of extra cheese I had left over. And I'm going to now just pop that into the oven. Okay, so the pasta bake is nicely out of the oven and it started to go a nice crispy colour, so that is perfect for me. I love a nice crispy top to my pasta bake. I just wanted to let you know that I put the pasta bake in the oven for 25 minutes at 180 degrees Fahrenheit to get this nice final touch on the top. Just to let you know, I'm going to put that on in a middle shelf as well. Can you see how cheesy and stringy that is? Oh, that looks absolutely delicious. Okay, so the moment is here. I am going to try this delicious pasta bake. I've been craving pasta for a while. And I wanted a nice cheesy pasta, so I think this will do the trick. The mozzarella has just melted perfectly, and the tomato sauce just looks amazing at the bottom as well. So let's try. Ah, it's delicious, and it is spicy, but the creamy topping just mellows it out. It just gives a nice creamy cheesy top just to kind of calm your mouth down, which is just amazing. It's just beautiful. I'm now going to tuck in and enjoy this. I really hope that you've enjoyed this video. Do give it a like and do subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done already. It's much appreciated. You can find all of our social media, so we've got Facebook and Instagram, which is under Spicy Qissah, and our website as well, where you can get all of our other nice tasty recipes, so you can check that out. So that's www.spicyqissah.co.uk. But for now, I'm going to eat this, and I hope that you have a very nice evening, and take care, and goodbye for now.